Hello and welcome to UAT Time within the United Countries Special by First Ukraine. You can find us on the frequencies available on our website firstuat.com. I'm Sergei Velichansky.
And I am Olivier Vedrin. UAT Time is dedicated to bring Ukraine and Europe closer to each other by introducing the real Ukraine to the rest of the world.
Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere."
Our guest today is Gia Getsadze, the Deputy Minister of Justice of Ukraine.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Well, thank you for stopping for a cup of tea. We have a lot of questions regarding the reforms. And I would say that the reforms of the system of justice in Ukraine is one of the most important issues.
Yeah, most.
So, first of all, let's come back. You're from Georgia,
yep.
And you're the Deputy Minister of Ukraine right now. But would you please bring us up to date? What were your activities back in Georgia, and before we move on?
Right after Rose Revolution, I was first Deputy Minister of Justice of Georgia. And we had also very difficult times because no budget, high level of corruption, and we tried to reform our judicial system also. And also I was working as a Deputy Minister of Interior, Secretary of High Council of Justice, and Governor of one region in one of the regions in Georgia.
So
then you are a professional.
I mean, sounds to me
you are the right man.
Quite an experience.
Yeah.
What maybe a question about just a general situation. What do you think about the special, foreigners or the representatives from the Georgian Reformation government in power here in Ukraine, or taking some vital positions in Ukraine?
I mean, because Georgia and Ukraine, we have the same problems, even the same enemy, and we both are post-Soviet countries, and that's why we always try to somehow change the old Soviet structure, system, and mentality. On one hand, another hand, for me personally, it's very important to work with my friends and colleagues together to reform our Ministry of Justice system, and I'm very glad and proud of it.
I think also maybe the key point is that you have also the same values, I mean the European values, and you want with Ukraine to go to Europe.
Absolutely, exactly. Because on one hand, we have problems with the occupation, but this is not only geographic question. This is a war of the values, I think.
Yeah.
And another hand, we have also main enemy, which is our corrupted system. And if we change the system, if our reforms have good results, then our economy will be developing, and we will create new working places for our citizens. And because we are part of the Europe, we should do as European values.
You are definitely a part of Europe.
And
definitely.
That's why it's very important, very crucial, and I'm very glad and proud to be here in Ukraine and to work with my colleagues together.
Your on the website, your primary responsibility is the corruption, dealing with those issues and reforms, right?
Yep. I'm in charge of reforms, new HR policy of Ministry of Justice, and anti-corruption.
And we're talking about
Corruption.
tons of tons of issues right there, you know, because if we talk, you know, the court system, because from one side, it's kind of, for the government, for the powers, for the authority, it's good to have obedient courts because they fulfill what the government wants, but at the same time, it's too idealistic to expect that the same very courts, very same judges will not be doing something for their own pocket as well. So we're talking about the, you know, finding the balance between the law obedient, you know,
but
finding the law obedient.
You're right, but for European Union, really, corruption in justice system is really a key point for Ukraine. And this is one of the big problems we always underline in European Union, the problem of justice in Ukraine. And we know that the corruption in, for the judge, for example, for the in the court of justice is very, very large. And we know that in European Union. And we are looking very, very closely the reforms the Minister of Justice of Ukraine will do. And with the war, the corruption is, for Europe, a key issue to solve the crisis in Ukraine. And your work is very important for Europe and for Ukraine. And I want to talk also about one thing. In Ukraine, you have all the laws, a lot of laws, but I want to talk about the process of the laws.
Absolutely.
Because in France, we know, and in Europe, we know that you have a big, large code of law. But you have problem in the application of the law and in the application of the process. Can you explain?
Maybe, I mean, yes, I mean, I will do my best. I will just say my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, but how I see. I mean, I think that one main direction to fight corruption is to adopt right laws. For me, this means less regulations, less licenses, less bureaucracy, less paper, and less laws also. Because sometimes we think that if law is 200 pages and, I don't know, 300 articles, corrupted judge will not take the bribe. No. I mean, laws are not self-working system. Main point is who is interpreting these laws and how this person is appointed. According to what kind of procedure? Because unfortunately, I mean, I am Deputy Minister of Justice, and I say that we have in our country judges who paid bribes to be appointed. And everyone, all our citizens know how much was cost for different courts to be a judge. On the other hand, we have professionals who are doing their job, but main problem is our public opinion, because our public opinion, only 5% of our public trusts judicial system, which means that to be clear, our situation in judicial system is disaster, which means that we should change the system. And during the changing of the system, we should try that politicians should not have a power to manipulate with judges. Because on one hand, we should change the system, on the other hand, we should prevent that politicians should not manipulate.
That's another problem, because let's talk about some European country. In some European country, the politician, executive power is different from the power of law, legislative power.
Yeah.
And what you will do in this way of thinking, like in European Union?
I think that, first of all, we should change the structure and the system of our judiciary. Because there are different working groups working, I mean, discussing procedures of appointment of judges, procedures. But I think that the main problem also is our structure. If you let me know, I will write down and show you, because maybe it will be much more kind of I can be much more clear. So we have three parallel systems of our judiciary. So, you see? So, ordinary courts, administrative courts, and commercial courts. Three parallel structures and 4 stages. First instance, courts of appeal, high courts, and Supreme Court. I think this is wrong. I mean, what we should do, we should just abolish this structure. We should pass the law and amendments to the Constitution where this structure will not be existing at all.
Wow.
And we should just create a simple structure for our citizens, for our businesses, for our budget, because and this will be the structure. First instances, Court of Appeal and Supreme Court. So, and we will be we will abolish 3 parallel ones and 4 stages. Why? Because in this old system, everything is confusing our citizens and our businessmen. When they want to go to the court, they think which court to apply. And sometimes courts are refusing to take the case and saying that this is not my job. On the other hand, we spend too much budget for too many buildings, too many courthouses, too many staff, and we are not rich country. We should, I think we should create the systems which is user-friendly for our citizens. In one city, in one court. But, of course, there will be different professionals working in these ordinary courts. There will be judges who are dealing with administrative cases, with commercial cases and criminal cases, but they will be working inside one court. Okay? And we will economy budget money also. And I think that we can, if we do this reform, we can give more salaries, more social guarantees for our judges, because we will spend less money on
And when you think you will do these reforms?
I mean, as you know, judicial reform is very difficult, and 2 lawyers, 3 opinion. So. And now our Parliament and Constitutional Commission are very actively working on that, because it needs very big consensus in our Parliament. That's why different models are discussed. But this is my personal opinion, because I have arguments why. And if we change the system, according to this system, we will need not more than 4,000 judges in our country. And today we have 8,000.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, the question is, recently, as far as I know, 2 reform projects, packages, were directed to the Venice Commission. One is from the administration of President's administration, and another one from the reforms group of volunteers, but highly professional volunteers that had worked on this as well for like over a year. And there are 2 very different, because the one from volunteers is the one which is very revolutionary, I would say, in approach. Do you know about this? And
I mean, I know we had the meetings together, and of course both drafts have kind of their values, and they are reform directed, but no draft says that we should abolish old system and old structure. Because now discussion is among politicians who will participate in the procedure of appointment of judges. You know, this is also very important. who will appoint judges. But structure is also important. I would propose to abolish the structure. After that, create transparent procedures of appointment of our judges. Our public should know how judges are appointed, you know, and I think that less involvement of politicians, government, president, Verkhovna Rada in a procedure of appointment, better results.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, so basically your the offer here is a third option. That's the one you mentioned.
I mean, because all people have different ideas. Mm-hmm. I think that we, all of us, should say it, you know, and discuss. I mean, I cannot say that this is kind of most something reform, which, but this is my opinion. I have my arguments, and for our country, I think, to restart judicial system, we should change the structure. You know, but because if we now change just procedure of appointment of our judges, and someone will be fired and someone will be new appointed, according little bit change the procedure, I don't think so that we will have good results. And because our public opinion don't trust judiciary, only 5%, they should see concrete steps how we are providing better services in judiciary for our business and citizens. And they should see it. Because if we do something partly, they will be more frustrated and we will not have a result.
Yes, that's the key point. You have to do all the reforms, or if you do only 25%, that's the result will be very bad. On the
that's
opinion.
excellent. I mean, because you know, because in Ministry of Justice we are doing now reforms in the field of registration of companies, businesses, real estate, enforcement of judgments. We are developing online services. Our citizens can just today print out so-called certificates, and also in another direction, our new police, for example. And these are concrete results, but they will not have long-term. I mean, their sustainability will not be guaranteed if we don't change our judiciary and prosecutor's office. And we will show some successes to our citizens, but they will not be working in a long-term period. And that's why when we are reforming Ministry of Justice system, Ministry of Economy has kind of have done a very good kind of steps toward reforms, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Interior. We should change prosecutors and judiciary. You know, because this all together can give to our citizens.
That's true. If the policeman detains somebody and then the judge just lets him out, and we're talking especially about some of the very renowned people that have been detained, and right there with the bribes being given to them, they're detained right on the spot, and then the judges let them out. It's like, well, nobody's surprised.
For me, this is a tragedy, but this is also very comic, please, because when I saw somebody with an accusation of corruption, and he has to avoid the jail, he said that he has a health break, you know, and in France that's impossible. You cannot say, I cannot go to jail because I have problem of health break. Yeah. You go to jail even if you have a health break.
That's a very good point you mentioned now. According to our legislation, during 4 months you can have a day off because you will go to one doctor and buy so-called spravka, and he will say that you are sick. And during 4 months no one will fire you. And these kind of norms in different laws we should change and abolish. That's our function. How I see anti-corruption. Anti-corruption is not only that someone should be jailed. Anti-corruption is to find regulations who are supporting corrupted system.
Because
and abolish it.
We know that some businessmen who are corrupted, they say they have a outbreak and they continue to do their business in the hospital during 5 months.
Well, did you deal with the same issues, with all of the same issues back in Georgia when you were?
Of course.
How similar were they?
Of course. I mean, even worse.
Whoa.
In Georgia, it was even worse because, I mean, let's see, state budget during Shevardnadze's time was 700 million laris, which was something like 500 million US dollars. Country's budget, because everything was illegal. No one was paying taxes. Everything was corrupted.
Okay.
After our reforms, concrete result, 7 billion laris after 3 years.
Whoa.
This is concrete facts. Why? Because we administered taxes. Our businessmen knew what to pay, and these taxes were less than in other countries, and we opened doors for new businesses. And when you are developing services anyway, it affects the business, you know? When you develop online services, when you have less regulations, less licenses, then business is coming to you. Now, in our country now, to do construction, as I remember, you need 22 signatures. We should abolish it.
Sure.
Because businessmen should not go to different agencies and ministries and ask for 22 signatures to begin construction. Because we all know these procedures had the corruption goals before, and for every signature someone was paying big bribes. And if we would like to change the system, we should change.
You know, I talk with some businessmen, French businessmen, and they say to me, Olivier, when I want to invest in Ukraine, I think they want to lose me in the administration. They want to lose me in the administration.
Excellent
and
point.
if I don't want to be alone in this administration, if I don't want to lose time in this administration, I need to pay. Yeah. And really, some administration or some institution, they use this administration to lose your time.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because you know, because this is old Soviet tradition. Because for our citizens during Soviet Union, state officials were heads of the nation, not vice versa. And now we should abolish old procedures and create procedures when we will be better serving our people. You know, and this transformation, of course, it is difficult. But we have concrete results. You can go to online and register the company, which was unbelievable before, okay? And we will develop online services. We will provide our citizens better services in registration of the land, registration of the businesses, enforcement of judgments, because we decentralize and demonopolize these systems. And there will be no lines for different kinds of certificates. Our parliament adopted by first hearing very important laws about registration, and in near future also very important law about enforcement of judgments in civil cases will be adopted, which means that after they are enforced, after January 1st, Ministry of Justice will be absolutely different ministry. I mean, absolutely different.
What was the result of, because I totally agree with you, in Georgia you did a lot of reforms, I totally agree. But can you explain what are now the result of those reforms in investment? In foreign investment.
Foreign, that's in Georgia or in...
Yeah, in Georgia.
I mean, we created, very friendly environment for the investments.
That's a good point.
You know, you can go to the Justice House and get the registration of your company in 15 minutes. You can go to the bank and you can open account in 15 minutes. You can write to tax office that I am already born as a company and this is my legal address. So we abolished regulations which were created before because someone wanted to take bribes. And
I hope in Ukraine that will be the same.
You know,
result.
this is. I mean, we don't. I mean, this is not. This does not need some special knowledge. This need. I mean, we should just want and do it.
Okay.
You know, and if we don't want to do it, then we can find always many arguments why it is not possible.
Here's my offer to meet again in about 3, 4, 5 weeks. To hear more of the new developments.
We'll be glad.
And we will be more than happy to have you back to give you the platform to share more, because our viewers are the Europeans and the Western people that are interested to know what Ukraine is all about, what is happening. So, where justice is denied, where poverty is enforced, where ignorance prevails, and where any one class is made to feel that society is an organized conspiracy to oppress, rob, and degrade them, neither persons nor property will be safe. Frederick Douglass. Our guest today was the Deputy Minister of Ukraine, Gia Getsadze. It was United Country UAT time by First Ukraine. Thanks for joining us for a cup of tea.
Olivier Vedrine and Sergei Velichansky were working for you in the studio. Stay with us and we will show to you the real Ukraine.
Thank you for being with us. Have a good day and see you soon.